Do you find yourself stuck in a relationship that brings you pain? You understand deep down that you're miserable, that this connection saps your strength, and that your partner isn't going to transform. Still, you remain. You've attempted to walk away. You've made commitments that things would be different this time, yet something consistently draws you back. What's behind this? What prevents even the pain from being sufficient motivation to depart? The explanation doesn't rest with your partner. It's not that they've manipulated you so skillfully that you've lost your decision-making capacity. It's not that your feelings for them are so intense you cannot break free. It's not that things were wonderful before and could be wonderful again. The reality is that the issue stems from what this connection has stirred up inside you, what it has strengthened, what it has triggered. Harmful relationships aren't simply about arguments, deception, and control. They're about subconscious behaviors, about past hurts that remain unhealed, about the terror of solitude, about craving approval, about the destructive pattern of bewilderment and expectation. Your partner doesn't hold you captive. You're held captive by the emotions this connection creates in you. That's precisely why simply ending things isn't sufficient. You might succeed in creating physical distance, but something within continues to return, recalling the pleasant times, making excuses for the terrible ones, questioning whether you should attempt once more. The issue was never solely about the relationship itself. The issue is the emotional connection that formed. A connection so strong it changes how you see things, leading you to accept behaviors you once promised yourself you'd never endure. But that's over now. This message isn't designed to shame you. It's not suggesting you're fragile or missing determination. Quite the opposite. This message aims to help you grasp what's truly occurring, to provide you with understanding. When you comprehend, you reclaim power. Only with power can you genuinely depart. So listen carefully. If any aspect of you feels stuck, powerless to leave despite knowing you should, this message speaks to you. By the conclusion, you'll grasp precisely why this pattern continues. More crucially, you'll discover how to shatter it. Let's begin. Why do certain individuals appear to continuously enter harmful relationships while others successfully leave without a backward glance? The explanation rests in how we develop our understanding of love. Love isn't something that simply occurs. It gets molded, constructed, trained. To grasp why you feel so connected to someone who causes you harm, we must discuss something fundamental: connection styles. From birth, we pursue bonds. During our first years, our minds get wired to link security and happiness with how we experience care. Growing up surrounded by consistent, healthy love and attention teaches us that relationships offer safety and reliability. However, when care arrives mixed with distance, dismissal, unpredictability, or even harm, our minds absorb a different lesson. That love is shaky, unreliable, something we must struggle to earn. Here's where the trouble begins. If your childhood involved love paired with suffering, your mind absorbed this pattern. This means encountering someone who consistently treats you well might feel dull, fake, or dishonest. But meeting someone who offers care in measured amounts, who makes you feel cherished one moment and overlooks you the next, triggers recognition in your brain. It connects this uncertainty cycle with what it learned to identify as love. This creates the emotional snare. Your feelings aren't just for the individual. You're attached to what they symbolize. They trigger something ancient inside you, a recognizable sensation, a hidden longing to demonstrate that this time you'll be sufficient, that this time love will triumph, that this time rejection will become acceptance. This brings us to a major reason leaving harmful relationships proves so challenging: the terror of losing something. When your connection style developed around uncertainty, the thought of losing that individual becomes overwhelming, not because you cannot survive without them, but because you sense you must complete this narrative. You must demonstrate you can succeed. You must somehow persuade this person to provide what you've always desired. But here's what's true. You don't need to demonstrate anything to anybody. This relationship isn't an examination of your worthiness to receive love. You aren't the problem. The answer doesn't lie with the other person either. Breaking free from harmful relationships starts with recognizing what's really going on. You might wonder why you feel so trapped even when you know things aren't right. When you develop deep feelings for someone, it can create a kind of prison. But what actually keeps you locked inside this emotional cage? There's a mental process that works like a drug habit, making the pain in your relationship feel somehow worth it. This process is known as random rewards, and learning about it could help you escape this endless loop. Have you ever realized that despite how much your relationship hurts, there are times when everything feels amazing? Those special moments when your partner becomes exactly the person you hoped for, when it seems like things are finally turning around. You hold on to these experiences, remembering every single detail, telling yourself this is what your relationship truly is, and everything else is just temporary problems that will go away. But this isn't real love. This is dependency. What feeds this dependency is a strong mental trick called random rewards. This idea comes from research by B.F. Skinner, who studied how people and animals learn behaviors. In his experiments, Skinner found that the best way to make someone obsessed with doing something was to reward them in unexpected ways. Rather than giving mice food each time they pushed a button, researchers started giving food only sometimes, with no clear pattern. What happened? The mice became completely fixated. They kept pushing the button over and over, desperately waiting for the next treat, unable to walk away. Now imagine replacing the mice with people and the button with your relationship. The same thing happens. If your partner treated you badly every single day, walking away would be simple. Instead, they give you small, unpredictable moments of kindness, making you keep hoping and always waiting for the next emotional high. The cruelest part of this system is that it teaches you to settle for less and less. At first, you probably expected respect, fairness, and commitment. But after countless emotional ups and downs, what you're willing to accept changes. You begin settling for tiny scraps of attention because deep inside, you just want to experience those wonderful moments again. You tell yourself that if you work harder, if you wait longer, if you become different somehow, your partner will go back to being the person they were when you first met. But this is the trap talking. This relationship was never really about caring for each other. It was about having power over you. The harmful person, whether they realize it or not, figured out that keeping you around doesn't need constant sweetness, just the right mix of warmth and distance to keep you trying. This explains why leaving feels so devastating. It's not just ending the relationship. It's giving up hope. It's accepting that things will never magically get better. Facing this truth hurts, but it's essential. As long as you keep participating in this pattern, you'll lose yourself. You'll forget what you actually deserve. You'll start questioning your own thoughts. You'll slowly learn to accept less, expect less, and become less than who you really are. The most painful part is that often your partner still convinces you that everything is your fault, that you're overreacting, that none of this is actually real. If you've ever caught yourself wondering if you're losing your mind, thinking maybe it's all just in your imagination, then you need to understand another important concept: reality twisting, blame shifting, and emotional control, the mental weapons that mess with your understanding of what's actually happening. If you've ever asked yourself questions like, am I making this bigger than it is? Am I the real problem? Maybe I'm actually going insane. Then you've already experienced psychological control. Among all types of manipulation, few are as harmful as reality twisting. Reality twisting happens when someone changes the truth so much that you start doubting your own feelings, memories, and even your mental health. It's an incredibly powerful control method because it keeps you constantly questioning yourself, making it much harder to see the abuse and even harder to get away from it. Here's how it happens. You notice something wrong in your relationship, maybe weird behavior, something that doesn't add up, or a lie, and you bring it up with your partner. But instead of owning up to it, they turn everything around. They blame you for exaggerating, being paranoid, or creating drama where there isn't any. You start hearing things like, "You never understand anything right," "Wow, you're way too emotional," "That didn't happen," or "You're making it up." These phrases become normal. Gradually, you start doubting yourself. You go over conversations in your mind, trying to remember exactly what happened, looking for proof that your feelings are valid. But each time you confront them, reality gets twisted even more. What used to seem clear now feels confusing, and the more you doubt what you experienced, the more you need your partner to tell you what's real and what isn't. Reality twisting is just one trick used in toxic relationships. Another powerful tool is blame shifting. Here, the person puts their own problems and actions onto you. If they lie, they call you dishonest. If they cheat, they accuse you of being unfaithful. If they get angry, they say you made them do it. The most heartbreaking thing is when someone starts believing the hurtful things said to them, carrying shame that was never theirs to begin with. These mind games aren't just about avoiding blame. They're designed to leave you feeling lost and drained, because exhausted people are easier to manipulate. When your confidence is broken, you'll grab onto any small kindness like it's treasure. When someone messes with your head enough, you stop believing in yourself and start believing everything they tell you instead. So here's the big question. Why do you stay? Even when you can see this person is tearing you apart, what makes walking away feel so scary? The answer comes down to two huge things that trap people: being terrified of ending up alone and fooling yourself into thinking people can really change. Do thoughts like these sound familiar? What if nobody else ever wants me? Or, what if I'm meant to be by myself forever? Have you ever told yourself that maybe if you just worked harder at it, stayed more patient, or fixed something about who you are, then everything would finally click? If any of that rings true, then you've fallen into the same trap that keeps so many people stuck, dreading loneliness and believing in fairy tale endings. Being scared of loneliness makes sense. We learn early on that being by yourself is somehow wrong, something you should avoid no matter what. Everything around us hammers this message home. Films, music, social apps. They all scream that finding love is what life's about. Like being single means you failed somehow. Like not having someone proves there's something broken about you. Now picture mixing that fear with a relationship that's torn down who you are. Someone who's trained you to think nobody else could possibly get you, that nobody else would put up with you, that nobody else could care about you the way they do. What happens? You talk yourself into staying, telling yourself it's smarter to stick with what's bad than risk being alone. But what if the real truth is different? What if what you're experiencing isn't actually fear of loneliness, but something more like going through withdrawal? Unhealthy relationships work like drugs. You don't just care about this person. You're hooked on hoping things will get better. You hold on to memories of how they acted early on, when everything felt magical, and you convince yourself that if you just hang on long enough, that version will come back. You make excuses for the awful times, telling yourself they're just going through something. You hold on to their empty words when they're trying to smooth things over, and you ignore what they actually do. This isn't real love. It's chasing a fantasy. Here's the thing about change. It doesn't happen just because you want it to. It doesn't happen because you love someone enough. It doesn't happen because you've given up everything trying to make it work. Real change only comes when someone sees their problems clearly and truly wants to be different. Be honest with yourself. How many times have they sworn they'd change? How many excuses have you heard? How many times did you believe this would be the moment everything turned around? When nothing shifts, it's because this relationship was never going to shift. Accepting that is painful. It means letting go of hope. It means dealing with the empty space left behind by something that took over your whole world. It means admitting you poured your time, energy, and heart into something that was never going anywhere. But this hurt won't last forever. The hurt of staying will. Walking away from a destructive relationship isn't as simple as just deciding to leave. If it were that easy, you would have done it already. To really get out, you have to break those emotional chains, retrain your thinking, and figure out who you are again. That's exactly what comes next. Learning how to break the pattern and begin healing your heart. Have you noticed that even though you know this relationship is wrecking you, part of you still can't decide? Even when the pain gets overwhelming, there's still that little voice asking, "What if I'm wrong about this?" Or, "What if I never feel anything this strong again?" This happens because leaving someone toxic isn't just about thinking it through logically. Understanding that this relationship hurts you isn't enough. You have to retrain how your mind connects love, feeling valued, and even who you think you are. You need to go through real emotional healing. Yes, healing. Because this relationship worked exactly like an addiction. Every tiny bit of affection kept you hooked. Every spark of hope was like another hit. And just like beating any addiction, you need to cut off this cycle completely to get your life back. But how do you actually do it? How do you finally break free from something that feels impossible to escape? Phase 1. Complete separation. The first thing you need to do is stop all communication entirely. If you really want to get better, you can't keep talking to them at all. This means no texting, no phone calls, and definitely no "let's just be friends" arrangements. Every time you reach out or they contact you, it brings back all those complicated feelings and drags you right back into that confusing mess you're trying to escape. You might be wondering, what if they decide to change? What if they suddenly realize what they've lost? But here's what you need to understand. If they could have changed, they already would have. If they really cared about you the way you deserved, you wouldn't be in this painful situation right now. When they reach out now, it's not because they miss you or feel sorry. They're just scared of losing their power over you. And you might tell yourself you just want some final conversation to make sense of everything, but you don't actually need that. Deep down, you already understand what happened. That closure you're looking for isn't really about getting answers. It's just another excuse to keep holding on. So you have to end it completely. Delete their number from your phone. Unfollow them everywhere online. Don't accept the tiny bits of attention they might throw your way. And be prepared. Once you actually do this, the emotional pain is going to hit you like a wave. Phase 2. Getting through the difficult period. Those first few days are going to feel awful. You'll feel like something important is missing from your life. Your mind got used to thinking about this person to feel okay, so when they're gone, it might feel like you can't handle it. But what you're experiencing isn't really missing them. It's like going through withdrawal from something you were dependent on. The tricky part is that your brain will try to talk you into going back. You'll start remembering only the happy times together, forgetting about all the hurt, and thinking maybe you made too big a deal out of everything. That's just your emotional dependency trying to pull you back in. The best way to survive this difficult time is to create new habits to replace the old ones. Find other things to fill up that empty feeling. Create a daily schedule that keeps you occupied. Start working out regularly. Pick up some books. Spend time with friends who actually make you feel good about yourself. Most importantly, Don't let yourself turn the past into some beautiful love story that it wasn't. Write down all the ways this person hurt you and look at that list whenever you start wanting to reconnect. Phase 3. Reconstructing who you really are. Harmful relationships chip away at how you value yourself. You've become accustomed to viewing yourself the way they see you. They convinced you that you're inadequate, unworthy of genuine affection, and must transform yourself to earn acceptance. It's time to rewire these beliefs. Ask yourself, who was I before this started? What brought me joy? What activities did I enjoy? Which parts of myself did I sacrifice trying to please them? Healing involves getting reacquainted with yourself. It means reclaiming your voice, your dreams, your independence. You're complete on your own. You don't require another person to make you whole. Society wants you to believe otherwise because your insecurities are profitable to them. Here's what's real. The affection that counts most, the only kind that can truly restore you, comes from within. That's our next topic of discussion. Walking away from a damaging relationship isn't an ending. It's the start of something far better. Real freedom arrives when you finally put yourself first. A moment arrives when you must decide. Keep tearing yourself down for something that was never genuine love, or finally prioritize yourself. Ultimately, their feelings don't matter. Their promises don't matter. How often they claim they'd be different doesn't matter. What counts is what you're willing to tolerate in your life. Perhaps you're still uncertain. Maybe that inner voice whispers, what if things could improve? What if I'm overreacting? What if I never meet anyone else? That voice isn't truly yours. It was gradually installed through every small gesture of affection you were trained to appreciate, through each manipulative cycle that eroded your confidence, through countless times you prioritized their comfort over your own well-being for someone who never genuinely cared. But now you understand. Now you can see clearly. Now you get to choose. Let me be straightforward. Nobody else will rescue you. No magical solution will appear. No sudden insight will break this pattern for you. Either you decide to act, or you'll keep cycling through this until nothing remains of who you are. That's what happens to people who stay in destructive relationships, such complete emotional drain that you disappear entirely. You forget your identity, your preferences, your aspirations. You become a supporting character in someone else's story. When you finally recognize this, it might be too late. So stop right here. Decide to walk away. Decide to end this pattern. Decide to rebuild yourself. Don't expect it to be simple. The initial period will be incredibly difficult. You'll long for them. You'll want to return. You'll wonder if you made the right call. But gradually, something amazing will occur. The confusion will begin clearing. Your thoughts will sharpen. You'll recognize that what you called love was something else entirely. You'll remember the person you were before this relationship began. Then one morning, without any warning, you'll wake up and realize you're truly free. To reach that point, you must take the initial step. You must choose right now. I'm curious, which part of this message affected you most deeply? What section helped you see something that wasn't clear before? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your story might help someone else who's experiencing exactly what you went through. If this resonated with you, follow our channel. We're just getting started on this journey together.